I don't plan on doing more videos on this kind of thing, but I just had to really get it out there. A few days back, I heard a song that I remember was heavily trashed when it was first released. I also disliked the song, but hearing it now, I'm surprised it was hated as much as it was. Of course, I'm talking about... Nope, no, don't play it, don't play the song, no, I don't want any copyright strikes. But yeah, Call Me Maybe. It's fine, I guess. One thing I've been meaning to talk about on here is how we view entertainment made for women. The conversation has been changing, though not by much, and we are starting to see more positive takes. Still, I just look back and realize we've been pretty bad about these things. This is nothing new if you looked around enough. For a time, Twilight was the worst thing to happen to movies. Recently, 50 Shades got that title. Hell, of all the remakes, reboots, whatever, Ghostbusters 2016 got a lot of undeserved hate. I'm sure the most level-headed of haters can agree with that. And for a while, I remember people trashing Call Me Maybe. They called it one of the worst songs ever, or rather one of the dumbest. I could even think back to when I had similar thoughts, though perhaps not as strong. And looking back now, honestly, I'm not bothered by it. As it played, it just disappeared in the background, and I went about my business without annoyance. Is this what growing up is? Or probably it's just not being an ass.
Vampire.
Because this is the internet, I know someone's going to bring up that I'm arguing to not criticize female entertainment, which is not true. Obviously, you can have your issues with anything. Twilight is silly, 50 Shades is boring, and while I dug it a lot, I get that Ghostbusters 2016 is far too reliant on referencing the original, and some jokes suffer due to the improv. But consider that they may also not need as much hate as they're given. We see products with similar quality aimed at men, yet I don't think anyone's ever lashed out at Transformers, at least consistently, as they do with Twilight, despite both being very dumb franchises aimed at teens. Criticism is fine, I'm just saying it's odd that we see the stuff aimed at women and girls getting a much harsher evaluation than the stuff aimed at men. Call Me Maybe is a goofy song, but it's harmless. I just can't understand why at any point it was deemed so awful by many, including myself. Listening to it again, I just shrugged it off. Can we all just tone it down on some of these things? For example, I think Brave is the weakest Pixar film for sure, but it's because it's a mess of a story, and it remains clear that Brenda Chapman should have stayed on the project, which is sad that it's pretty much the only Pixar film with a specific female-based story. The other Pixar movies with female leads aren't necessarily female-specific despite the leads, just pointing that out. And you know what? I never felt the need to trash it because of the female focus, or the lack of sexy women, because those aren't issues. Its big issue is that it failed to give its story justice. You know, instead of a bunch of you sexist trash ruining film discourse, or entertainment discourse for that matter, with your BS cries of political correctness or cries for SJWs or supposed objective views, why not consider to engage with the material, understand the goals, the target audience, everything, and judge it by those merits? Or don't. Just because it isn't made for you doesn't mean it's automatically the worst. Try to see why you personally didn't like the material beyond it being a girls thing. I remember once nodding to the notion that Call Me Maybe was an awful insult to humanity. Now, I just think Call Me Maybe is a fine song. With a cute premise. I'm okay with that. But I also heard Friday again recently, and yeah, that one's still awful. See you next time!